My wife let her rich boss mock me for being a nobody waiter at her promotion party. Neither of them knew I own the building they were celebrating in. Well, well. Chase Rothman is the waiter at his wife's big celebration. What's next, Chase? Dishwasher of the month. Boris's voice cut through the laughter at the table. Chase froze in the doorway, still in his waiter's uniform, plates balanced in his hands. Across the table, Celia sat glowing between her colleagues, smiling, until she saw him. Her smile vanished. Only if Celia knew who her husband really was, she'd be terrified and proud at the same time. Chase hadn't planned on seeing his wife tonight, not like this. Not in the hotel where he'd just started working 2 days ago, head down, tray in hand, hoping to make it through until his first paycheck before telling her. But here she was, a celebrated guest. And here he was, a waiter. Celia's eyes met his, and she was shocked at first. Then it gets colder. The dinner was supposed to celebrate her promotion. Instead, it became a public humiliation for her. That's Celia's husband? Someone whispered. Thought she married rich. Guess she's the breadwinner. Laughter rippled down the table. Glasses clinked in mock cheers. Heat crawled up Chase's neck. He set the tray down, knuckles white, forcing himself to stand still. Boris leaned back in his chair, grin wide and cruel. Man, must be tough, huh? Watching your wife sign million-dollar deals while you take her orders, literally? The laughter got louder. Chase's uniform still smelled of burnt espresso from his other job at the coffee shop. 2 part-time jobs and 1 main job as store manager. 3 shifts, just to afford his 3-year-old daughter's medical bill, but none of it mattered here. Not to them. Man, don't you feel ashamed? Boris sneered. Living off your wife's paycheck like a leech? Do her a favor, Rothman. Leave her. Let her find someone better. Boris didn't even hide it anymore. His eyes had been on Celia for months. He was just waiting for the day she'd finally divorce Chase. Chase exhaled. Then he looked up, voice low enough to cut glass. You done? Boris blinked. What? You insult me for being a waiter. Fine. I work. I earn. I make my own life, Chase said evenly. You? You sip power someone handed you. Without your boss's card, you're nobody. The table froze. Laughter choked off. Watch your mouth, Boris snapped, standing. Chase didn't flinch. Or what? You'll brag louder? Silence. Celia's fork stopped midair as Chase turned and walked out. Outside, the night air cut like ice. Chase lit a cigarette, hands trembling. Smoke curled in the streetlight as the scene replayed in his head. It wasn't their laughter that gutted him. It was Celia's silence, his own wife sitting there, letting them tear him apart. Not a word, not a glance, nothing. That hurt worse than all their insults combined. Just then, his mind drifted unwillingly to that morning. Chase wiped the counter. Slow day. 1 customer sat in the back, wide-brimmed hat, face half hidden, watching, waiting. Chase finally walked over. Need anything? The man didn't look up. I'll give you $100 million for that cup of coffee. Chase blinked. What? $100 million for a cup of coffee? The man nods, confirming. Chase stared. Who the hell are you? The man stood, removed the hat. Tim Sanders, his father's old enforcer. Kid, Tim said calmly, let's talk outside. Chase stormed out, sun blazing on asphalt. What do you want? To bring you back, Tim said flatly. Your grandfather wants you home. $100 million on your name the moment you agree to sign the papers. Chase laughed, bitter. $100 million? He must be desperate. You're still clinging to the past? Chase's jaw tightened. That old man sided with my toxic ex and disowned me. Tim's voice dropped. He paid for that. Not enough. Tim stepped closer. You'll waste your life serving coffee? I'd rather be broke, Chase muttered, than live as rich on their leash. Tim's tone softened, almost pitying. One day you'll come back. Not for money. Tim paused. But for someone you love. Chase stared at him, silent, then turned away and walked muttering. Not today. Chase crushed his cigarette as the memory of earlier Tim, the offer, still clawed at his chest when the hotel doors banged open. Celia stormed out in fury. Laughter from her colleagues echoed faintly behind her. "Why would you humiliate me like that?" she spat. Chase turned, voice edged with disbelief. "Celia, I didn't even know you were here. If I had—" "You're lying." Her laugh was bitter. "You did it on purpose, because you're jealous of my success. You can't stand that you're still a poor nobody." The words hit harder than anything Boris had said inside. Chase felt the heat rise, but forced himself calm. "I'm working 3 jobs, Celia, saving every damn penny for our daughter's treatment, and you think I wanted to ruin your celebration?" His voice cracked low. Celia's face hardened. "I worked just as hard, harder. And for once, I wanted to celebrate my promotion. Just once, and you ruined it." She turned away. Celia had married Chase for love, but love didn't pay hospital bills. Love didn't erase the poverty grinding them down while their daughter fought leukemia. Chase opened his mouth to respond. Just then, Celia's phone buzzed. It was from the hospital, hence she immediately answered. She froze, listening to what the doctor had said, and ended the call. "The hospital," she whispered. "Our daughter. It's urgent." Looking helplessly at Chase. Minutes later, in the hospital hallway, "Your daughter needs an urgent test," the doctor said. $5,000 up front. "5,000?" Celia's voice cracked. "I'm sorry," the doctor murmured. Celia spun on Chase, trembling. 5,000? We don't even have 500. She shoved him. "I'll handle it," Chase said quietly. "Handle it?" Celia laughed, jagged. "How? By carrying plates or by selling coffee?" With that, Celia slapped him hard. The slap cracked like a gunshot. Silence, then whispers. Nurses smirked. Poor man, humiliated by his own wife. They had no idea who he really was. "You're useless," Celia hissed. "Blind. That's what I was to marry you. I want a divorce, Chase. I'm done being the wife of a nobody." Chase stood frozen, and his cheek burned from the slap he got from his wife, who stormed toward the ICU door. Chase felt something twist inside him. Enough was enough. He had to fix this, no matter the cost. Without a word, he turned and walked out. Outside, Chase stopped on the sidewalk, staring at the city skyline. The world had beaten him down, and now it was daring him to rise. They thought he was a nobody. They were about to learn who he really was. He took out his phone and scrolled to a name he never wanted to see again. After a long pause, he called. "I need money," Chase ordered. "How much, boss?" the man asked, smug. 50,000. That's an easy amount, but it needs your one signature." "Are you coming to sign or choosing to stay broke, Mr. Rothman?" Chase gritted his teeth. "I'll be there." "Fantastic. Come up to my office, Mr. Rothman." The voice crackled over the noise in the background. The line went dead. Chase ran 20 blocks to Century Tower, sweat pouring down his back. The building stood like a monument to power and money. Without hesitation, he marched to the front desk. "I'm here to see the chairman, Tim Sanders." The receptionist looked Chase up and down. He was sweating, disheveled, and his suit looked slept in. She rolled her eyes. "Do you have an appointment?" He hesitated. "No, but I was told to come. If you don't have an appointment, I can't help you. Our chairman doesn't see just anyone." She looked at him disgustingly. "Can't you just ask him to come down?" Chase pressed. The receptionist gave a mocking laugh. "You want Tim Sanders to come down for you? Who do you think you are? Leave, or I'm calling security." "Hey, show some respect," Chase snapped. "Just ask him to come down, then you'll see who I am." "Security!" She waved them over. "Get rid of this poor guy." 2 guards walked over. One said flatly, "Get out on your own, or we'll throw you out ourselves." "Just let me call him," Chase barked, resisting. "He asked me to come." "Seriously?" The receptionist scoffed. "He really thinks Tim Sanders is expecting him." As the guards grabbed him, a man in a tailored suit and gold-rimmed glasses approached. "What's going on?" Jason Young, director of HR, stepped into the lobby. The receptionist immediately straightened. "Mr. Jason, this man's causing a scene. Says he's here to see the chairman. No appointment. Refuses to leave." Jason's eyes landed on Chase and lit with cruel delight. Well, well, Chase Rothman, Still alive, I see. Old history burned between them, years of rivalry, Jason's constant mockery every time they crossed paths. He waved the guards back. "It's fine, let him through." Jason's smirk was poison. "So, you're here to see Sanders? What's the plan? Pitch some miracle idea, beg for cash?" Chase ignored him, dialing his phone. Jason leaned close, voice low. "Celia just called me, you know." Chase froze mid-dial. Jason's grin sharpened. "She told me you're broke. Can't even pay your daughter's bills. Must suck to be a man and fail your family." "Shut up," Chase growled. "I'm just trying to help," Jason mocked, "taking Celia out to dinner tonight. Lending her some money." He leaned in, whispering venom. "After I make her sleep with me." He winked. Jason never got over Celia choosing Chase over him years ago, but now he thought he'd finally won. Too bad, he was wrong. Jason grabbed Chase's limp hand, shaking it mockingly. "You've crossed the line," Chase said, voice low, fists trembling. Jason laughed in his face. "Yeah? And what are you gonna do about it?" Chase's eyes darkened, dangerously cold. Jason saw the shift too late. "Security!" Jason barked, suddenly nervous. "Hold him down!" Two guards slammed Chase to the floor. They had no idea who they were dealing with, but they'd find out soon enough. Jason sneered down at him. "Go ahead, swing at me, I'll press charges. Maybe a jail cell will teach you humility, and give me more time with your wife." "Stop. What's going on here?" A commanding voice cut through the chaos. Heads turned. An older man with silver hair walked briskly toward them, flanked by staff. Jason's face went pale. "Mr. Sanders." Sanders' eyes narrowed, looking at guards holding down Chase and then at Jason. Without warning, he slapped Jason across the face. Everyone froze. "Who gave you the right to manhandle my guest?" Jason was stunned. Sir. He looked like some random guy off the street and said he wants to meet you. If Mr. Rothman wants to meet me, he meets me. And you are lucky I didn't fire you on the spot." Sanders glared at Jason. The guards immediately released Chase. They were going to witness the storm Chase Rothman was about to unleash. Sanders rushed forward and grabbed Chase's arm gently. "Are you all right, sir?" The Century Group staff stood paralyzed. The billionaire CEO, Tim Sanders, was apologizing to a man in scuffed shoes and wrinkled sleeves. The same man Jason just tried to humiliate. The same man who seconds ago was about to be thrown out. Everyone in the office looked on, confused, rattled, whispering. Why would Tim Sanders treat a poor nobody like a VIP? Who the hell was Chase Rothman? What power did he hold over the chairman? Jason went rigid, cold sweat soaking the back of his neck. The receptionist looked like she wanted to melt into the floor. Chase smirked at Jason and the receptionist. Jason stammered, "Chase, listen, Jason Young." Sanders cut him off coldly. "You're fired. Get out." Jason went pale, his legs buckled. In a single sentence, his career was over. One moment a department head, the next, nothing. Chase Rothman. That Chase was being treated like royalty. Jason couldn't wrap his head around it. Meanwhile, the receptionist tried to vanish behind her desk. As she slipped off, Chase stepped in her way. "I'm so sorry," she blurted. "I didn't know." "Do you treat everyone without an appointment like that, or just the ones who don't look rich?" Chase questioned her. Before she could stammer an answer, Sanders said calmly, "You're fired too." The receptionist collapsed into her chair, staring at the wall. Her stomach turned. She'd just insulted someone the chairman called Mr. Rothman. The guards glanced at each other, standing perfectly still. Sanders motioned Chase forward. "Come, let's talk." Inside the sleek office, Sanders personally poured coffee and handed it to Chase with a shaky smile. "These last 3 years must have been rough," Sanders said softly, "but your grandfather was clear. Until you sign the terms, I can't give you even a cent." Chase took a slow sip. His mind wandered back to years ago, falling for Celia, marrying her against his grandfather's warnings. His grandfather, the man who built Century Group from nothing, and Chase was the sole heir to a vast empire, yet he'd walked away from every privilege for Celia. He'd believed Celia was worth it, believed love and hard work would be enough. Then his startup collapsed, the debts piled up and everything unraveled. Sanders, Chase looked up. If I take my inheritance, does the old man have any other conditions? Sanders lit up. None, just your signature. Chase narrowed his eyes. Has grandfather finally accepted Celia? Sanders gave a nervous laugh. That I can't say. But I did hear Miss Shaha Peterson's still single. At the mention of Sasha Peterson, Chase sighed and rubbed his temples. Sasha Peterson, the flawless heiress of the Peterson family. Beautiful, ruthless, toxic. She was the woman his grandfather had wanted him to marry, the perfect match to merge two empires. It was his refusal to marry her and his choice to marry Celia instead that had severed him from the Rothman fortune in the first place. But what if Sasha came back? What if she still wanted revenge for being rejected? You're sure there are no hidden terms? Chase's voice was low, eyes locked on Sanders. He knew his grandfather too well. There was no way this came without strings attached. Sanders patted his shoulder. Absolutely. Chase didn't believe him, but right now, none of it mattered more than his daughter's treatment. He said, My daughter needs care. Lend me the money first. Sanders immediately shook his head. I'm sorry, but can't do that. Chase's jaw tightened. Are you serious? Dead serious. Sign the papers and you'll have 50 million, not just 50,000. Fuming, Chase slammed his hand on the table. Fine, bring the contract. Excellent. Sanders beamed. I'll get the lawyer. Chase's lips curled into a faint smile. The hawk had awakened. Soon, every person who'd looked down on him would regret it. 30 minutes later, Chase left the Century Group with a loaded bank card. Sanders escorted him out personally. Back at the hospital, Chase found Celia outside the ward talking on the phone. She gave him a cold glance, then looked away. Inside, his daughter was sleeping fitfully, her small face scrunched with pain. Chase reached out, tucking her hand gently under the blanket. She looked so fragile, yet she was the reason he'd just given up everything. Celia called out, Chase, step outside. He followed her to the corridor. I've made arrangements for tonight, she said, avoiding his eyes, to take care of the hospital bills. I'll find a way to pay. Obviously you can't. Chase let the insult pass. Where are you going? After a long pause, she said, Jason. I called him. He offered to help. I'm going to meet him tonight. Chase felt a jolt, but he stayed calm. At least she hadn't lied. You don't have to go, he said. We've got the money. Celia's eyes widened. Her voice trembled. What? You heard me, Chase said. We're covered. She stared at him like he'd lost his mind. If she knew her broke husband was the heir to an empire worth billions, she wouldn't just stare. She'd lose her mind. But the question was, would Chase ever tell her? Seeing the serious look on Chase's face, Celia's brow furrowed. You're seriously clinging to your pride now? When our daughter's in a hospital bed? She snapped. All I asked was to borrow money from Jason. Can't you even consider that? Clearly, she thought Chase was bluffing, his ego bruised at the idea of her turning to Jason for help. Only if she knew that her husband just got Jason fired from his job on the spot. I'm not lying, Celia, Chase said, gripping her hands. I know I failed you, but that ends now. I swear, I won't let you or our daughter suffer again. She stared at him for a moment, then burst into bitter laughter. Chase Rothman, she scoffed. Do you think I'm still that idiot who married you when you had nothing to offer me? You really think some sweet words can fix this? How exactly do you plan to keep that promise of dreams and fresh air? Chase's voice was steady. Because I'm rich now. Rich? You? Chase, you can't even pay hospital parking fees without borrowing from me. Are you delusional or just desperate? I can't trust a man like you who sells coffee and cleans plates at restaurants, she spat. Her words cut, but Chase didn't flinch. Because soon, she'd see. Would she believe him or call him crazy before the truth burned the world down? Chase exhaled deeply. For once, believe me, don't worry about the bill. I'll handle it. Wait here. He hurried off before she could say anything further. He didn't want her knowing the truth. Not yet. Especially not the part about his grandfather and the inheritance, because something about it wasn't sitting right in his head. At the payment counter, Beatrice didn't even look up. "You again? Scrape together a few $100? Don't waste my time. Come back when you can pay the full amount." Everyone in the hospital knew Chase's financial situation. That's why none of them ever held back from insulting him. But today was different. Today, they were about to learn why humiliating him was the biggest mistake of their lives. Chase silently handed her his card. She sneered. "What? Did you sell your ass? Let's see if this even works." The payment went through. Full balance. Cleared. Beatrice's smug face dropped as she printed the receipt. Chase took back his card and said, "If I sold my ass, at least someone would buy it. You? With that attitude and those eyes? Try harder." He turned and walked away, his silence louder than any insult. Behind him, Beatrice stood paralyzed, receipt trembling in her hands. Everyone stared at Chase like they were seeing him for the first time. Who exactly was this man they thought was a nobody, and what kind of power was he hiding? Chase paced at the bottom of the hospital stairs and dialed Tim, trying to shake off the sting of Beatrice's attitude. Tim picked up fast. "Hey boss, just heard what happened. Want me to deal with that doctor?" "Not now," Chase said. "I need a new pediatrician. Someone better. Got one in mind. Owes me a favor. I'll send him your way. Anything else?" "No." Chase hung up and headed back to the room, one problem off his list. For the first time in years, he wasn't powerless. For the first time in years, the Rothman Empire was his to command, and he would use every cent, every connection, every ounce of power to make sure his daughter got the best treatment, to make sure his family, the ones who doubted him, never dared again. Inside, Celia was waiting, arms crossed. "Did you pay the bill?" Chase handed her the receipt. "Yeah, file it later." She glanced at the amount, paid in full. Her eyes narrowed. "Where'd you get the money?" Chase hesitated. "Jack Wendell lent it. I had some savings." Celia exploded. "You're borrowing again? Do you have any self-respect? Or is begging your backup plan for life?" Chase's jaw clenched. He had just cleared the bill, yet she lashed out. "You know how hard I work?" Celia snapped. "I can't believe I used to pity Chad Manson. At least he handles his life." That stung. Chad, wealthy, smug, and constantly flirting with her, was everything Chase wasn't. And worse, her parents adored him. They keep urging Celia to leave Chase, to marry Chad Manson instead. But could they really convince her to sign those papers? And when they discovered that the nobody they despised was heir to the Century Group empire, what then? Would they crawl back in shame? Before Chase could respond, his phone rang. "I need to take this," he muttered, stepping into the hallway. He glanced at the caller ID. Sam Anders. It was his boss. "Chase!" Sam's voice was pure venom. "Do you want to keep your job or not? I can't believe I stuck my neck out hiring you, and this is how you repay me? You don't want the job? Then quit." Chase's eyes went cold. Sam used to be his subordinate, back when Chase still ruled the Rothman Empire. Now Sam enjoyed every chance to humiliate him. Everyone at work did. Chase endured it, for Celia, for their daughter. But not anymore. He'd already missed too many days caring for his sick child. He knew the pink slip was coming. So why wait? "You're right," Chase said coldly. "I quit. And here's something you should remember years ago. I should have fired you. But I didn't. That was my mistake." He hung up without waiting for a reply. The silence after was deafening. For the first time in years, Chase felt free. And soon, Sam and everyone at that office who mocked him would get news so shocking they wouldn't believe it, even after seeing it with their own eyes. The day was coming when they'd realize the nobody they humiliated owned everything they stood. Outside the hospital, Chase's head throbbed. Just the thought of his in-laws made him tense. If they love money so much, fine. I'll show them the money, he thought. He pulled out his phone and called Tim Sanders. "Hey, boss," Tim answered. "What's up?" "How hard would it be for me to buy Blitz Tech?" Chase asked casually. "How fast do you want it done?" Tim glanced at his wristwatch. "Now," Chase ordered. "Give me 10 minutes." Chase hung up and hailed a taxi. Chase hung up and hailed a taxi. This time, he wasn't just paying bills. This time, he was going to show everyone exactly who Chase Rothman really was. Inside the Blitz Tech office, Sam Anders was mid-rant. "That arrogant loser! Who does Chase Rothman think he is?" He slammed a chair into the wall. From down the hall, Lou Simmons, the general manager, stormed into the marketing wing. "Sam, what the hell is going on?" Sam froze. "Mr. Simmons, you look like a toddler in a tantrum," Lou snapped. "Clean up your mess. The new boss is arriving." He started to leave, but turned back. "And if you screw this up, I'll skin you alive." Sam blinked. "New boss? It just happened a few minutes ago. Someone bought all our shares. 50 million. Sam gawked. 50 million for this company? That's overpaying by at least 30. What an idiot, Sam thought. "Don't just stand there," Lou barked. "Grab the staff. We're going downstairs to greet our new boss." When Sam would see who the new boss really was, it wouldn't just shut his mouth. It would destroy his pride forever. Downstairs, a crowd gathered. Excitement buzzed through the air. A taxi pulled up to the company entrance, and Chase Rothman stepped out. Sam's face darkened. "You've got to be kidding me. Chase, I fired you. You've got no reason to be here. Get lost." The staff murmured. "He's back? What a shameless man." No wonder Sam was pissed. "You tanked our review scores. Look at that taxi. Guess he really is broke." Chase stood silent, looking for Tim, who was supposed to be here by now. Where the hell is Tim? Chase thought. Lou turned to Sam. "What's going on?" "He's no one. I just fired him. I'll deal with it." Lou addressed Chase directly. "You're Rothman? The one who took all those sick days?" Chase gave a half smile. "That's me." "Then leave. Now, or I call security." Lou threatened him. "You sure?" Chase tilted his head. "Say the word and I'm gone, but you'll regret it." Sam barked a laugh. "Who do you think you are?" Lou snapped his fingers. "Throw him out now." Two burly security guards grabbed Chase's arms. Staff snickered, phones out, filming Chase getting humiliated. Not one of them realized they were filming the moment their careers were about to end. Mockery hissed through the air like knives. The guards dragged Chase toward the doors. Chase tried to free himself from the guards' grip, but they held him tight. "Don't ever dare to step into this office," Lou growled. "What an eye-pleasing view," Sam added with a grin. They thought they'd humiliated him. They had no idea what humiliation was, but they were about to learn. They shoved him through the glass entrance. Chase stumbled, nearly crashing to the pavement. Just then, a Rolls-Royce Phantom slid to a stop at the curb. The door swung open as Tim Sanders stepped out. Gasps cut through the staff like a wave. Tim Sanders, the richest man in Lauderdale, the man no one dared cross. He caught Chase by the arm before he could hit the ground. Slowly, deliberately, Tim turned toward the stunned Blitz Tech employees with a murderous expression on his face. "Who?" Tim's voice sliced through the silence. "Just laid a hand on him?" No one answered. Tim's glare locked on Sam. "You?" Lou stammered. "Mr. Sanders, we didn't know—" "Didn't know what?" Tim roared, voice booming so loud it rattled the glass doors. "Didn't know you just assaulted your new boss?" The world froze. A pin could have dropped in that silence. Sam's jaw slackened. "New boss?" His voice was a whisper drowned out by the collective gasp. Tim stepped aside like a man revealing a firing squad. His hand swept toward Chase. "Yes," he said, every syllable sharp and lethal. "Meet your new boss, Chase Rothman." The name detonated through the crowd. Gasps, a scream. A phone slipped and shattered on the floor. Every smirk, every mocking laugh, every smug whisper. They vanished in an instant. Sam went corpse white. Lou's knees almost gave out. The two security guards who had manhandled Chase released their grip, suddenly trembling. The man they had dragged through the dirt, mocked, thrown out like trash, now owned every single one of them. And Chase? He didn't smile. He just looked at them, cold and silent, like a predator sizing up prey. Chase stepped forward, calm, deadly. "Remember what I told you earlier? That I should have fired you years ago? I can fix that now." "Fire him!" Tim ordered the guards. Sam panicked. "Please, Mr. Sanders, don't fire me and Mr. Liu. You know me." Liu's fist cracked across Sam's jaw. He hit the floor, scrambling on his knees. "Mr. Rothman, I was wrong. Forgive me. Chase's was ice. Leave before I ask the guards to throw you out like garbage." One word ended Sam's career. The guards dragged him out like trash. Chase brushed past Liu, who was pale, speechless, and signaled Tim. Tim gave Liu a curt nod. "The rest's on you, Mr. Simmons. Don't wreck the company now." Only when the Rolls-Royce pulled away did Liu finally exhale, shaking. The cabin was silent, tension humming like a wire. Finally, Tim spoke. "Boss, I need your signature. Urgent paperwork. Should we go to the office?" Chase frowned. "Can't you handle it yourself?" Tim shook his head. "Not this one. Now that you've inherited everything, your signature is law. Without it, the deal dies." Chase sighed. Hospital first. Paperwork tomorrow. Chase had no idea what was waiting for him in the hospital. The rolls stopped. Celia stood outside, frozen. Her broke husband stepping out beside Tim Sanders himself? Her eyes widened. What the hell is happening? "Chase Rothman," she snapped. "Weren't you at work?" "They didn't need me today." Chase's voice was casual. "Came to check on you." He smirked, thinking if Celia would believe him if he told her that he just bought Biltz. Her gaze darted to Tim. "And him? That's really the Tim Sanders?" Celia knew Tim's power, his position. Seeing her broke husband beside him felt impossible. "Mrs. Rothman," Tim greeted her warmly. "You know me?" Celia stammered. "Our company's just partnered with Blitz," Tim said smoothly. "Your husband played a major role in making it happen. Hence I gave him a ride." "See?" Chase forced a smile. "Just a ride." Tim caught the hint, gave a polite nod. "Pleasure meeting you, Mrs. Rothman." With that, he left. Celia turned on Chase, sharp. "How do you know Tim Sanders?" "Didn't he just say, 'My company partnered with his. What else do you want?'" She didn't answer, but disbelief flashed in her eyes. How could Tim Sanders be with someone useless as Chase? Only if she knew Tim Sanders worked for her husband. That's when Celia's phone beeped with a message. She glanced at it and smiled. A smile that twisted Chase's gut. Who the hell texted her? Without a word, she spun toward the parking lot, heels striking hard against the pavement. "Where are you going?" Chase called, following. "Why do you care?" She shot back without turning. The message, the smile on her face, and her sudden coldness. Everything pointed to one brutal thought. Is Celia cheating on her husband? Chase replayed her coldness over the past months. Every time he'd reached for her, she'd shoved him away. "You can't even afford condoms. Why bother touching me?" The words had branded him deeper that he stopped initiating intimacy with her. Now watching her storm off, it all clicked. The distance, the bitterness, the hidden smiles at texts she never explained. Chase followed at a distance as she walked past the lot, down several blocks, and into a private business club. What's she doing here? Chase thought, looking around. Meeting someone in secret? Probably her secret lover? The thought of Celia cheating on him made his blood boil. Without wasting a second, he headed straight inside. At the reception, Chase asked for Celia. The receptionist checked Celia's name. "She's with Mr. Gormack, lounge, third door left." Chase's gut nodded. He followed the directions and froze when he saw Celia, seated across from a greasy middle-aged man. The man's gaze was predatory. Chase's fists clenched. Every muscle screamed to storm in, but he waited and watched. Gormack slid into the seat beside her, hand brushing her shoulder. "Mr. Gormack, please." Celia's voice was tight. "We're talking business." He smirked. "If you want the deal, sleep with me." He had no idea whose wife he'd just propositioned. Chase couldn't hear her answer, and that frustrated him more. Celia's body went rigid. Her phone buzzed. She snatched it, saw Chase's name, and bolted for the exit. Poor husband. Poor life. That's what she muttered under her breath as she ran, cursing him for the hell she was trapped in. Only if she knew, her poor nobody could erase Gormak with a single word. Chase cut her off in the stairwell, catching her wrist. "Why are you here?" Celia hissed. "Did you follow me?" Before Chase could answer, Celia sensed his intention and spoke. "Oh, please," Celia glared. "Do you think I'm cheating? I'm here working because your useless husband." "Who is he?" Chase asked through clenched teeth. "A minor exec. Does deals with my firm. He's a creep, but I thought I could land something. I needed that commission," Celia muttered bitterly. Even after Chase had told her he'd handle the hospital bills, she never believed him. In her mind, Chase always borrowed and it had to be paid back. So she pushed herself further because to her, Chase wasn't reliable. Soon, she would realize how wrong she was. "But why are you even asking?" Celia snapped. "What are you going to do about it? We both know you're spineless, Chase." She didn't know one phone call from him could erase Gormak's career and maybe the man himself. "You shouldn't have to deal with guys like him," Chase said quietly. "Come on, let's go." "I'm not going anywhere with you," Celia hissed. "You're a disappointment, and don't ever interrupt my work again." She stormed off, wiping angry tears. Chase stood frozen, fists trembling. Then he pulled out his phone. "Boss?" Tim's voice crackled on the other end. "Listen carefully," Chase said, voice low and steady. "I want you to do something." As Chase explained his plan for Gormak, Tim didn't hesitate. "Consider it done." A slow smirk tugged at Chase's lips. Gormak had no idea how bad it was about to get for him. Greg couldn't get Celia out of his head. He wanted her, bad. And if that meant cornering her, so be it. Just as he was planning to set a trap for her, his phone rang. He cursed. Who the hell? Greg Gormak. The voice was cold steel. His boss. Greg straightened. "Mr. Mormon, I didn't know." "Shut up." The voice cut like a blade. "You're going to approve Mrs. Rothman's proposal. Any requests she makes, you fulfill. And if you so much as look at her again, I'll skin you alive." Greg's knees buckled. "Why, what did I can tell by your tone you pissed her off already," his boss snapped. "Beg her forgiveness, or start packing your office." The line went dead. Sweat trickled down Greg's neck. Somewhere out there, someone had pulled strings hard. Of course, it's Chase Rothman. Would Celia ever realize the man she calls a spineless is the one making power players crawl? Celia grabbed her bag and stormed past the reception. Chase followed. "Why are you still following me?" "I'm worried about you. Let's go together." "Worry about your waiter job, Chase, for our daughter's sake." She didn't look back. "Tell me," Chase's voice dropped. "Did he touch you? I'll end him." "Enough," Celia snapped, voice cracking. "We have enough problems already." Chase stared at her. "You think I'm the problem? That creep harassed you." "Greg didn't do anything," Celia shot back. "Stop being impulsive for once. I can handle my job without you charging in." The doors burst open. Greg stumbled in, pale and sweating. "Mrs. Rothman, wait!" he gasped, spotting Chase. Then he dropped to his knees. Celia froze. "Mr. Gormak, what are you doing?" Greg's voice trembled. "Mrs. Rothman, I crossed the line. I'm sorry. Slap me. Scream at me. Anything. Just let's sign the deal." Celia blinked, stunned. Chase just smiled faintly. Tim had done his job. Minutes later, the contract was signed with 20% extra profit as an apology. Greg fled like his life depended on it. Celia stared at the papers. "This doesn't make sense. Why would he suddenly—" "Maybe someone helped you," Chase said lightly. "Someone?" Celia frowned. Greg's sudden apology. Chase's calm smirk. Nothing added up. "What are you thinking?" Chase asked. "Not about you, that's for sure," Celia muttered. "You wouldn't help me, even if you could." She walked off, still convinced her husband was a nobody. still blind to the fact the man she called useless was the reason Greg Gormack was begging on his knees. Chase's chest tightened, but he said nothing. One day she'd know. The car hummed down the freeway as Tim took Chase to an important business deal. Chase leaned back, sunglasses hiding tired eyes. "I still have the final say, right?" he asked flatly. Tim glanced over from the driver's seat. "Yes, you're the boss now." "Good." Chase's tone was sharp, no trace of doubt. Only if Chase knew what was waiting for him there. At Lauderdale's elite clubhouse, only the richest and most influential passed its doors. Tonight, even Ken Vaughn, chairman of Vaughn Corp., net worth $4 billion, waited in line with shareholders. "Isn't that Ken Vaughn?" whispered a guest. "Yeah, and half the board's here. Must be some major guest. Bigger than Sanders? Who else could pull this crowd?" Ken's son Chester groaned. "Dad, who are we waiting for? Making us stand here like servants?" Ken snapped, "Quiet. Sanders organized this. Show some respect." Chester sneered. Didn't know anyone outranked Tim Sanders. A Rolls-Royce pulled up. "Mr. Rothman, want the main entrance?" Tim asked. Chase eyed the crowd. "Too flashy. Let's go through the back door." Tim nodded, redirecting the driver. Minutes later, Ken received Tim's call. "He's here. Go in." "What?" Chester fumed. "We've waited half an hour and he's already inside?" Ken glared. "Shut it! Don't embarrass me." Ken thought that was the end of it. He didn't see the storm brewing behind his son's eyes. Tim sat with Chase on the leather sofa, briefing him on the deal. Moments later, Ken Vaughn, his son Chester, and several shareholders entered. The room went silent. Chase's worn jacket and calloused hands stood out among the suits and gold watches. He looked like a nobody. Chester sneered first. "Who let the janitor in? Climb through a bathroom window?" Tim stiffened, about to speak, but Chase stopped him with a look. "So what if I did?" Chase said flatly. Chester scoffed. "You know where you are? This is a billionaire's lounge. You look like you're here to fix the plumbing." They laughed at the man who could buy them twice before breakfast, but Chester wasn't done. He was about to cause more trouble and provoke Chase Rothman. The question was, when he does, would Chase crush him or let him suffer? "Chester, shut up!" Tim barked. Ken frowned at his son, forcing a polite smile at Chase. "Mr. Sanders, I thought you were introducing us to an investor. Is this his assistant?" Before Tim could correct him, Chester piled on. "Investor? Him? What's he got? $50? Enough!" Tim's voice cracked like a whip. "One more word and I'll buy out your family just to put you on the street." The room froze. Ken blanched. "Apologies, Mr. Sanders. He doesn't think." Chase smirked. "He's no kid. If he's allowed to mouth off, I'm allowed to reply." Ken glared at Chester. "Another word and you're gone." Chester clenched his fists, silent but fuming. Tim turned to the room. "Let me clarify. This is my business partner, Chase Rothman, the investment you're begging for?" He decides. Stunned silence. Even Chester's jaw dropped. The man they mocked as a nobody was suddenly the richest man in the room, and now every eye waited. What would Chase Rothman do with that power? Chase stood. "Let's skip the pleasantries. How much?" Ken swallowed. $150 million. "Fine, I'll put in $300 million. I want 15%. Sign now. I've got somewhere to be." Ken nearly choked. "The 300. Done." They signed on the spot. Chase smirked. "Mr. Ken, keep your son out of future deals. If he needs help, he goes through Sanders." Chester's face turned scarlet. The rings had been meant for him. Ken forced a toast. Chase refused the drink. He and Tim left through the back. Out there, Celia still thought she married a broke nobody. What happens when she finds out she's been sleeping next to a ghost king? Before Chase and Tim could exit, the doors burst open. A crowd spilled in. Celia among them. "Celia?" Chase froze. Her breath caught. "We came to celebrate the Greg contract," she said lightly, voice tight. "Why are you here?" She gave Tim a curious look. "Business," Tim cut in smoothly, already slipping away with a wink at Chase. "Pure coincidence." Chase didn't correct him. He had no reason to tell her the truth. Not yet. Please, Celia hissed under her breath, panic flickering in her eyes. Before any of my colleagues see you, just walk away. She still remembers how her colleagues humiliated Chase for being a waiter. She couldn't survive round 2. Chase shook his head, calm. Don't worry. I won't ruin your night. I'll head to the hospital. Stay with our daughter. His tone softened, almost pleading. Go. Enjoy your night. But whispers were already slicing through the air. Fate wasn't letting him leave clean. Yo, Celia, that's him, right? One voice snickered. Your husband? Another mocked, laughter bubbling. Celia's face flushed. Chase sighed. He thought this was going to be just another awkward night. He had no idea the chaos waiting inside. In minutes, this room would learn exactly who Chase Rothman really was, and when Celia found out, nothing would ever be the same. Before Chase could reply, a booming voice rose over the music, cocky, claiming, Celia! Drinks on me! Boris Washington, her boss, the man whose girlfriend openly schemed to get Celia fired and whose obsession with Celia was no secret. Everyone knew Boris wanted her, but Boris didn't know that Chase Rothman would soon make him regret even thinking about his wife. We just ran into each other, Celia said quickly, steering away. He's leaving. Fine, Boris smirked. You guys grab a table. I'll check the private lounge. Celia drifted toward the bar with her coworkers, laughter forced. Chase's fists clenched. Boris lingered, eyes on Chase, hungry, territorial. If she's smart, she'll divorce you, Boris sneered. Trash like you drags her down. Chase's reply was cold as ice. Coming from you? You're beneath me. Boris barked a laugh, flashing a tripod membership card. See this? Lowest tier, sure. Still higher than you. How'd you even get in? Delivering coffee or janitor work? He stepped closer, voice dripping poison. Face it, Rothman. While you scrub dishes, I'm offering her everything she dreams of. Chase didn't flinch, didn't even blink. Boris mistook the silence for defeat. What he didn't know was that inside Chase's jacket sat a card 10 times rarer. When Chase played it, every sneer in this room would die in their throats. That card's not yours, Chase said evenly. You're riding someone else's coattails. Boris stiffened. Chase had hit him dead center. The card wasn't his, but how did Chase know about it? You're full of it, Boris snapped. This card's mine. I already booked a private room. Want to see how the upper class lives? Tag along. He lied through his teeth, refusing to back down. He slammed the card on the counter. The sound cracked through the lobby like a gunshot. Heads turned. Conversations died. All eyes shifted to the reception desk. Boris's girlfriend smirked at Celia from across the crowd. Is your husband back here for another humiliation? She whispered, voice sugar-sweet and cruel. God, why can't he just stop ruining everyone's mood? Another coworker muttered. Celia, you should divorce him already. Celia's jaw clenched. She stayed silent. Only if she knew the man she pitied was about to silence this entire room. And once Chase played his card, no one would ever look at him the same way again. The receptionist typed, glanced up. Sorry, all private rooms for normal members are full. Boris froze, red-faced. It was such an embarrassment for him, and he wasn't going to let it slide. Chase chuckled low. Is this the upper-class life you promised? Stopped at the door. At least I have a membership, Boris barked. Sir, the receptionist said sharply, keep shouting and I'll call security to drag you out. Everyone else laughed while Bori and his girlfriend greeted their teeth. Chase laughed outright. VIP treatment, huh? Boris's smirk faltered. Celia was watching. His girlfriend was glaring daggers at him for causing a scene. All this chaos, because of Chase Rothman, the nobody. The humiliation only fueled Boris's obsession with Celia. He wouldn't let this slide. Not tonight. Chase leaned on the counter, calm. Any rooms left for me? The receptionist raised a brow. Not unless you've got supreme clearance. Boris barked a laugh, pouncing. Supreme? This guy can't even land a proper waiter job. You're asking for supreme clearance from him? What a joke. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Celia's co-workers snickered. Her girlfriend whispered, "Poor Celia. Married to that?" Celia looked at Chase, heart sinking, bracing for his humiliation, until he smiled. Chase slipped a card from his jacket, black, diamond-edged, glinting under the lobby lights. Gasps tore through the room. Conversations died mid-breath. The receptionist's hands shook as the card touched the counter. The Supreme card, one of 10 in existence, worth more than the entire lounge combined. Every laugh strangled into silence. Celia's world tilted. Who was her husband? Will Celia finally realize the man she's been humiliating is the one holding all the power in this room? What will Boris do now that he's been crushed in front of everyone? Crawl away or strike back harder? And when Chase's true identity as a billionaire comes out, will Celia beg for forgiveness or walk away forever?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.